Hey there, welcome to Leader Feeder, the show where we share practical leadership tips with you and your team. My name is Kirk and I'm your host. I want to start by reading some interesting little quotes and then chat a little bit about them. When the Paris exhibition of 1878 closes, electric light will close with it and no more will be heard of it. The horse is here to stay, but the automobile is only a novelty, a fad. This telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication. The device is inherently of no value to us. And last but not least, I am bold enough to say that a moon voyage will never occur, regardless of all future advances. So that last one was from 1926, and the others range from about 1875 to 1905. And probably the theme you're noticing there, especially as we just sent the first human beings to the dark side or the other side of the moon, is that we have a habit of making predictions about things that will never happen or changes that will never come. And of course, those changes do eventually come. We absolutely replaced the horse with the automobile. We definitely made it to the moon, and electric light is everywhere. We don't go lighting oil lamps very often. And so what does that tell us about change and how humans interact with change? Well, it tells us that in a lot of cases, we actually don't adapt well to change, and we tend to look at new technologies, new ideas, and new ways of doing things with a little bit of disdain or a little bit of pessimism. We tend to think that the way we currently do things is the way that we're likely going to continue to do them. So, on this show, we talk about frontline leadership and how you can be a better frontline leader. So you might be thinking, well, how does this idea of, adopting new technologies and whether or not the horse or the automobile is eventually going to win out, what does that have to do with frontline leadership? Well, when you're in a manufacturing facility, there's always changes coming down the pipe, whether it's innovations to the technology, whether it's new systems to do things better or safer or more efficiently, or just new software being introduced, whatever it might be, there's a lot of change happening, and it's happening at a quicker and quicker pace. A couple of clients that we've worked with recently, when we ask about, we're coming in to do leadership development, so that's already going to be introducing a certain amount of change to the team, we get a little bit of a worried look because their response is, our team is already handling a lot of different change on a lot of different fronts. Whether it's implementing a new ERP system or new machinery or equipment coming in, the team is really doing their best to try to keep up with change all the time. Now, one thing we know is that, again, we tend to resist change a lot of times, and we tend to want to keep doing things the way that we've been doing them. And where a frontline leader comes in and why that's relevant to a frontline leader is just like a lot of these technologies that at one point we said, oh, those will never be the new way of doing things. We're never going to have automobiles all over the place. You can either choose to kind of hunker down and stay with the way things are being done and not be open to those new changes. Or you can be curious and open-minded and say, well, what if this new technology or this new system or this new way of doing things, what if that were to be the way that we do it in a couple years' time? And we would look back and actually go, wow, it's funny we never really thought it would change. So as a frontline leader, I think it's prudent and I think it's a good idea for you to be at least open-minded to these changes so that when a change comes down the pipe from management or wherever it's coming from, corporate, senior management, instead of immediately saying, well, that's not the way we do things. That's a dumb idea. Why would we do it this way? The way we do it is just fine. Or even just thinking that that new way is never going to work. It's never going to replace the way we currently do things. Some of these quotes here, and there's lots of others like it, tell us that in reality, it's more than likely that things actually will continue to change. And maybe the initial plan that comes down from corporate or from management isn't going to be the exactly what the new way looks like down the road once the wrinkles have been ironed out, but we can almost be certain that change is going to keep coming. So as a frontline leader, one of the things that you can do is just simply being open-minded to the change rather than pessimistic or negative or closed to the change. That already is a tip that you can take with you. Just being open-minded and asking yourself, if this change were to actually come and take place and sort of be the new way we do things, what good could come of it? Right? What would that look like? And automatically, you're going to have a more open-minded, maybe not automatically, but eventually you'll have a more open-minded mentality toward those changes. Now, why does that matter? Well, your team is looking to you to set the example, right? As the team lead or as the supervisor, they're looking to you for how they should respond to these changes in some cases. So if you come to the table pessimistic and cynical or skeptical about these changes and really negative about it, then they're going to think that's sort of what they're supposed to do. And when we know that a lot of changes that come down the pipe, they're not really ours to reject. They're ours to make sure they get implemented. And mentality or attitude about the change is a big part of whether or how easily that change gets implemented on our team. So as the leader, if you take the right approach of being open-minded and curious, your team is more likely to think that way as well. And then in doing so, you're making the change easier to roll out onto your team. And the other part about that, if you're more positive about it and they become more positive about it, you start to become kind of curious and a bit experimental, saying, well, maybe the exact way that this is being handed down to us isn't exactly going to work, but hey, what if it could be tweaked a little bit and work this way? One of the things we know about most change initiatives, whether it's in government and manufacturing and in almost any industry in almost any country, is that the final change or the final way it comes through looks very seldom little like what the initial plan was. So we see lots of changes happening, whether it's cost overruns or delays or just other obstacles that come up that change the path of what it looks like, the final product that is. And so knowing that, if we are open-minded and we're sort of having an experimental mindset, we're not necessarily saying, oh, this plan in its current sort of iteration is not going to work and therefore the whole thing is doomed to fail. Instead, we look at it and say, well, some of this will probably work. Some of it's kind of solid, but there's a few parts that don't really make sense that we're going to have to tweak and work out. And then you go about figuring out, how to make it fit a little bit better. And that's where you get a good feedback loop. And that's really what the experimentation mindset is all about. Try something, see what works, tweak what doesn't work until it fits better. And you can imagine that mentality, that attitude, that behavior is a much better environment to work in than having a team leader who is constantly putting down the change, complaining about it, talking about how it's a bad idea, how management doesn't know what they're doing. That creates a really sort of negative, toxic environment for the team to work in. And people don't want to work in that, right? People can put up with toxicity and sort of negativity for sometimes a really, really long time, unfortunately, but they don't ultimately want to be in that. You want to be in a more positive working environment. So being open-minded, experimental is really going to help you get there. So next time a change is coming down the pipe and you're thinking to yourself, oh gosh, another thing they want to change. Oh, this thing isn't, your initial reaction might be to say, oh, this thing isn't going to work, or why are we changing something? I want you to just take a second to think about what they said about the horse and what they said about, oil lamps, or what they said about electricity, or what they said about the telephone. It's not to say that every single change is inevitable, but in a lot of cases, those changes are coming and we get to choose how we respond to the change. So I just want you to be thinking about how can I be more open-minded and curious about change as it comes down the pipe rather than skeptical or negative. And it's going to create a better experience both for you and for the members of your team. So there's my tip for today. I hope you enjoyed that. And as always, if you're thinking about change management on your team and you're wondering, how could we learn more about this? How could we get my teams to be less resistant to change and buy in better? Or maybe any other learning development topics you're thinking about, you can certainly visit our website at uniquedevelopment.com. Reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you and chat about how we can help your organization's leaders.